Hey everyone, it's Craig.
And Katya.
And you know what we want to tell them about?
Hawaii Five-0 is having a sale on pilgrim hats.
That's right, and pumpernickel.
Pumpernickel bread is so underrated. That's why I choose rye.
And that's why I like to go check out my options on patreon.com/Katya and Craig.
That's where all the relevant tea is spilled, as it were, and not to mention certain facts that can be used as receipts upon dragging a person, tearing off their wig, going off, snapping. Snatching.
Absolutely.
Spalding.
Oh,
Spalding Gray her. Drag her, monologue her.
Diane Wiest her.
Oh my God. Ellen Barkin her to death, hunty.
Barbara Hershey.
Oh, who Hershey?
Who was she?
Damn.
Find out all that and more on patreon.com/Katya and Craig. Because what do we have there? We got the bonus episodes?
We got bonus episodes. We got extra episodes. We got exclusive episodes. We got firewall pay-through non-standard secret episodes. We got movie clubs. We got anti-movie clubs. We got fish and chips. We got haggis. We got deals and deal or no deals. And we got Howie Mandel's OCD pay-per-view comedy hour.
That's right. Absolutely. All that and more, plus listen to questions. So listen, go there at patreon.com/Katya and Craig and enjoy yourself. So listen, why don't we get into the episode now?
A Russian ballerina, stomping on a bureaucrat, a perky suburban housewife who just got into scat. It's whimsically volatile.
Okay, terrific. So we're rolling. And welcome back, Michael DeBar.
It's great to be with you, man. You know, I love your whimsical volatility.
Well, thank you. As you know, I'm quite an admirer of yours, and it's lovely to have you back.
Oh, thanks.
And there's some exciting stuff coming up in the very near future, including a new album.
Yeah, new record. I just want to say something, though. You know, I was driving here from Pasadena, my new house, which we discussed. And, you know, I moved to Pasadena. I got married. My third wife, spectacular.
Yeah.
She's 17, but she's really smart. And I'm kidding.
You met right after the 17th birthday as well. No Bill Wyman shenanigans here.
Oh, gosh. Wyman, you know, he's 82. He still has it. But I think his girlfriend says, no, we can't do that.
No, of course
not.
Okay,
so there I am coming in. And I thought, I don't care what they did to me. I don't think about what they should do for me.
Yeah.
I'm thinking about what I'm doing.
Sure.
And I realized that everything then becomes wonderful because that's all there is.
And it's all really you can change. It's all you can affect.
I mean, it's an old cliche, clearly, you know. But, I mean, you know the past is gone and the future is a mystery. But I want the mystery of the moment.
Sure. There's plenty of mystery in the moment.
Yeah, the secretive enigma of today, you know. And that's what I was thinking coming here. Yeah, there's so many things going on. You know, my program continues to be enjoyed and also a lot of people listen to it. Little Steven's Underground Garage, Channel 21. You know, it's a really exciting gig. You know, me and the microphone. Yeah. You know, as you know, because you do your thing.
Sure.
God, you got a microphone. You know, I mean, and it's in my house. My studio's in my house. I do it from my house. Yeah. And therefore, you know, I wear makeup anyway, you know, because...
You want to get in the spirit of things.
You know, I'm the only DJ that has lighting. I've never said that before, right?
We have a terrific nail varnish on as well.
It's a good color.
It is good color. What color would that be?
That
for
would be
listeners?
periwinkle.
Okay.
But only on one hand.
Oh, okay, right. The fretting hand.
Yes, it is actually. Yeah. It, you know, I do it because I can, and I do it because only on one hand because I am. You know how supportive I am about LGBT.
Oh, absolutely,
you know, and the queer nation. All of it is. Listen, man. In 1972, I was in a silver jumpsuit and yellow boots in New Orleans. Yeah, you know, or worse, Mobile, Alabama. So I've been through my own. Confrontations with the butch, you know, with the shall we say the discontent,
sure,
you know, the quarterback. Whereas the girls wanted to fuck us, you know, the boyfriends wanted to literally kill us, and that was the environment. So I'm very interested in the struggle because I've been there. I mean, people go, "What are you, a boy or a girl, or what are you, a beetle?" You know, you know, whatever it was back then, and so I'm super aware of the struggle there, and I'm down with it, man, you know. And that's why we're playing downtown LA in that environment at this club, the Redwood Bar in Los Angeles. You guys, you want to come down with there on the 7th and the 28th of August. And it's a fantastic environment. We're going to have really wonderful bands like the Cox, like the Crawlers. There's so many bands out there really being incredibly loyal to their belief system, and that's rare, man. They're not in the game. They don't want to be the new Greta Van Fleet, which, as we know, is the new
Led Zeppelin.
Oh yeah. I mean, God bless them. I don't care.
Yeah.
You know, people say to me all the time, but what do you think about the bands that are clearly sort of, shall we say,
Evoking
is really kind. I got stuck at influenced, which I think is more generous than evoke.
Both are very generous. We're very generous, kind people.
But God bless them. They're playing the blues. I mean, tell Jimmy Page not to be influenced. Hello, this legal thing with Spirit has just cropped up again.
Oh yeah, it's going on. For listeners who are not familiar, the Spirit, the group featuring Randy California, had a song. What's the name of their song? I can't remember.
It's called something like, Pegasus or
something,
Taurus.
Taurus, that's right, Taurus. And so their song is very similar chord-wise to...
It's 52 seconds of the notes that Randy was in. Brilliant band, Spirit. Great band. I play them all the time. Fantastic band. But, yes, that's right. But my thing about Stairway is 3 acts.
Yeah. It is.
There's different movements in that song that you could apply to an opera if you like, because it is sort of a rock and roll opera. There's the acoustic beginning, and then it builds and it changes, and it's My Sweet Lord time.
Oh, sure, that's right.
With George, and I could care less about that stuff. But Randy California, perhaps his estate and his children or whatever it is, who's ever coming up against them, stand to make a fortune if they win, because it is the most played radio song in the history of rock and roll.
Yeah, on radio and at guitar centers as well.
I love that. How many people are going to? But I love that.
Yeah, right.
There's something charming about it, like the geek over there, like playing. And I hear a lot of people. I go over and go, "How'd you do that?"
You can hear some good stuff at Guitar Center.
You do. I mean, it's a beautiful thing. But the thing about copying and all of that is a very interesting vibe right now, because even now everybody's copying Billie Eilish.
Oh, sure.
Which is fascinating, and the beat, unfortunately, goes on, through a computer.
Yeah.
So it's not that I've got anything against that music, man. I dig it all.
Yeah.
If you're good, you're good. I don't care whether you're tap dancing or, doing it with your brother on a laptop.
Yeah.
Well, you know what I mean. I'm not talking about incest. I'm talking about rock and roll music or contemporary music. And Billie's brilliant, 17, incredible. And it's lovely to have a phenomena to talk about.
Sure.
Because God knows there aren't any.
Yeah. And it's nice to have a star.
It's nice to have a star.
Yeah.
And that's absolutely true. And she gets 5, on all levels. But my point being is they're evoking Billie now.
Yeah, sure. Yeah. Anyone who becomes the new star, then there's suddenly a wave of influence.
Lots of little stars.
Yes, exactly.
Big star, little star.
Yeah.
But I feel great. I mean, we're playing. It's hard to find new rock bands. So plug in, you guys and girls.
Sure.
Plug in. And I know there's a young girl in Cleveland plugging into a little orange amp.
Sure.
With a Melody Maker Les Paul in her hand and playing riffs and creating. I just know it'll swing to the simplicity of it. That's why my band, The Mistakes, came.
Yeah.
I mean, Jesus, I've had 5 bands in 5 decades.
Right.
It's
a good average.
It's not bad, is it?
No,
I mean,
And I saw your band. It was the first time seeing you live, and it was fantastic. I saw you at the Hi-Hat a couple months ago. And
The Mistakes
Park?
in Highland Park.
Yeah.
Second gig.
Yeah, it was fantastic.
But I don't say that with any, what's the word I'm looking for?
Bravado?
No, it's everything I do is bravado. Boiling a fucking egg is, is a major moment. Thank you very much. Thank you. No, please. Would you like one? But
I'd be happy to do this again. Thank you.
Yeah. No, I mean, it's not an apology saying it's a second show.
Yeah.
We are. My whole thing is play loud and make mistakes. All I know is the greatest things that has ever happened to me up there live is mistakes.
Sure.
You look at each other and you're either going to, shoot yourself after the gig or you're going to laugh and do something extraordinary. The key to it is people are with you. You're playing for them, with them.
Right.
It's like when I'm talking to you, making eye contact with you. It's a lot more than like, looking over your fucking shoulder.
Or at a phone.
By the way.
Yeah.
In terms of acting, because I'm an actor.
Certainly. Recently seen on the, most recently seen on the latest season of MacGyver.
Yeah.
Reprising your classic role of Murdoch.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah. So a lot of people I've worked with for the, when did I start? 1966. You'd be talking to somebody and they're literally looking at it. They're not even talking to you. So you're trying to create a moment that is real.
Yeah.
And they're thinking about what they're going to say.
Yeah.
They're not listening. So the key to that gig is to listen. Because if you listen and the camera's on the person that is doing the talking, when they go to edit that movie, they'll look at this person and they can see that it's not authentic. So where they're going to go, how they're going to cut that. So they'll cut it to the guy who's listening or the girl that's listening, the man, the woman, the dog. It doesn't matter because there's more in the truth. You don't have to say stuff to be taken truthfully. You're responding. Your mother's dead. I mean, listen to the silence.
Yeah. It's back to what you were saying about being in the moment. If you're not there in the moment, which is true in life too. I mean, basically, actors' tips, you could take these and apply them to everything.
Life lessons, and certainly rock and roll. I mean, we're very tight. But the thing is, these guys, they're amazing, man. They really, I'm just a lucky guy. These incredible musicians. And I said right at the beginning, the first time we ever got in a room, I said, "You're 17." Yeah, just be 17.
Yeah.
And don't even think about notes and scales and all of the stuff that you know what's happening. Just do it. It's like, dare I compare to Picasso? You didn't think about it. He was just, or Matisse or any of the great painters. They were just,
yeah.
And it wasn't, I've got to form the perfect pigeon right here with 3 eyes.
Right.
That's it. That's what I'm going to do. Climbing up a ladder to a cloud. That's it. Got it. With an elephant in the background.
Because maybe they wouldn't have started it if they thought about it too much.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's brilliantly put. And the same thing applies to rock and roll music. But of course, because music has become so controlled.
Sure.
And you can do anything. You don't need to go find a flute player.
No, you just program
Let's get Ronald. He's really good on flute. He's not here. Well, when's he back? 6 days. Oh, okay. So I won't push this button then.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that's what it sounds like, pushing a button, whatever it is, however it is. But there's brilliant Avicii,
Oh, sure. There's incredible
people.
Electronic music. It always has been. Yeah. Since it's been reasonable to make some with synthesizers in the 70s, etc.
Yeah. Coming from that whole world. That's why Martin Gore is so interesting.
Sure. Yeah. For those listening, I'm sure you know Depeche Mode.
Yeah. He created stuff that is, wow, those songs, People are People, all of that. Personal Jesus. These are really huge songs.
Massive songs.
Yeah.
And it's great. In the reissue series they did on Mute a while ago, which is kind of the gold standard, I think, for reissues. They had documentaries with each album. And there's footage of them sampling, just throwing pebbles down gutters and all that stuff. And then that's fashioned into something that's
syncopated.
Yeah, exactly.
But Scott Walker did that too.
Oh, that's true. That's a great moment in his documentary where he's producing the
punching the meat.
Yeah.
Which is the title of my autobiography. Chapter 69. But random noise.
Yeah.
But that's what rock and roll is. Like, I get more of a kick out. Like, I was at the gym this morning and I'm hearing MC5 and it's a 2-minute intro of feedback before they even get into the tone. And you're going, wow, you're really, it's just noise.
Right.
So it's a primal vibe, The Mistakes, with some pretty good songs.
Yeah, I'd say so.
And I go back, I play Silverhead songs, I play Detective songs. We're playing at the Viper Room on Monday, you guys. Please come down. Right. It's free.
Yeah, I would be there, but I'll be in New York, so I cannot.
I got to leave.
I figured it would come out sometime. I might as well bring it up.
No, God bless you. It's fine. But you guys out there, I'd love to see you. 10:30 we go. And I've got a lot of vinyl of our new single too, Crackle and Hiss, on neon pink vinyl.
Oh, terrific.
It comes out from Wicked Cool Stevie's label.
Great. When's that out? That
comes out on July 5th.
Okay.
And we're really excited. rocking. It's an homage to vinyl, duh. It's about having the flu. Yeah.
Something everyone can relate to. And actually, can you pause for 1 sec? Because this Logic thing just paused for a second.
So I was saying,
yes,
I have a gig, at the Viper Room, which is a historic place anyway you look at it.
Yeah.
But it's free, and please come, 10:30. I've got all this vinyl, neon pink vinyl. Crackle. On the B-side is Stop in the Name of Love.
Oh, you did at the show I saw, I believe. Yeah.
You remember the Vanilla Fudge?
Yes, absolutely.
So they were a band, late 60s, early 70s that I really dug, and Stevie Van Zandt adores them, so we play them a lot. And they took these R&B classics and turned them into these grinding, almost heavy metal
certainly.
songs. You keep me hanging on. And,
yeah.
Well, I did the same thing, but I have a different kind of sense of grinding than East Coast grinders. I'm a London grinder, a cobblestone grinder, which is the name of my next band. But it'll be fun, man. You got to come. We're doing 4 songs,
Oh, really?
We're shooting a video, and
cool.
So it'll be fun for everybody.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
And then you're going to go off to Japan at some point?
Going to go to Japan at Christmas and do Tokyo, Osaka, and Nagoya, which is the usual run,
And you've done that quite a few times.
I have, yeah.
Yeah, and in recent years as well, right? You did that with was it the Silverhead reunion?
Silverhead reunion was in Tokyo.
What was it like reuniting with a group that you hadn't played with in so long? Because you've done so much, and you're usually about moving forward and what's the next thing and what's the present thing.
I'm delighted that you asked that question. Very few people can understand the notion of reuniting, and it doesn't feel so good.
Reuniting, not sure if I should.
Not going to do it in your neighborhood. Man, I mean, to be kind and everything, that music was written for people with a lot of fucking energy and adrenaline.
Sure.
By 20-year-olds.
Yeah.
So I'm singing More Than Your Mouth Can Hold was one of our songs.
Another title for those maybe not familiar, the album title 16 and Savage.
16 and Savage.
Which some people, have issue with, but they don't get the context.
Well, the thing is, I'm a journalist.
Sure.
I chronicle stuff. I'm not
instructing
waving
people,
a flag saying molest 16-year-olds.
Right.
Quite the reverse. I have a foundation called StreetHeart, which is about the homeless teens, which is another story.
Which we'll get into after.
Yeah, what happened was 16 and Savage was about, when I first came to Los Angeles in 1972, it was a very different world.
Sure.
Laurie Maddox is in the lobby. She's 14 with her mother. Okay, so need I say more? David Bowie took her virginity. Okay, so let's just start from that standpoint. Do I think that's okay? You cannot look back and say that's not okay. You're going back in history to discuss something, and of course, it's abusive in our current culture. It is also terribly abusive then.
Sure.
But what I wrote about in my own defense, which I don't really need to do, defend myself, I wrote about what the shit was going down.
Yeah.
16 and Savage, you're so young and so ravaged. Nobody's going to give a damn. Your mother doesn't give a shit. Your father's on the road doing business. You're left alone. What the fuck do you think is going to happen?
Sure.
It's actually about abuse by parents. By the authoritative figures that should have, be in control of the situation with their kids. And I saw it, man. And it wasn't like that in London.
Mm-hmm. Really? What was the London
The London
difference?
thing was a whole different thing because of the difference in drugs.
Oh, interesting.
1960s, late 60s, early 70s was hashish. So you got an opiated young'uns in velvet.
Okay, sure.
They're not in bikinis.
Right.
This is not Brian Wilson.
Yeah.
This is Oscar Wilde.
Sure.
And we're in London.
Yeah.
And we're in cobblestones. We're not on the fucking beach.
And not in the sun, essentially, most of the time.
Could you describe sun real quick?
Well, it's like this thing that comes out. It's when the sky's not gray.
It's like Jumping Jack Flash the Ripper.
Yeah.
Okay, so it's the Victoriana.
Sure.
And dandies. An Edwardian philosophy of incredible sort of, overindulgence and bacchanalian delights. And the drugs, hashish and all that. And I was 16 into So With Love, And after So With Love, it was a whole other deal, because we could get in anywhere.
Yeah.
Any clubs, Scots of St. James, there's Jimi Hendrix in the corner. I went to school with Noel Redding, for God's sake, with Mitch Mitchell, excuse me. But Noel, Miss Pamela was with at the time.
Oh, right.
It's all very intricate. But the point being I'm trying to make is that, it's abusive and disgusting, and how dare people take advantage of young people. It's a revolting. And I wrote about it.
Because it's what you saw.
I wrote about what I saw, and of course I indulged in it too. Well, I was 20.
Yeah.
I mean, many people would think I was being abused.
Sure.
So that's that, but we do that song.
Yeah.
The other thing about the reuniting, it didn't work for me.
Okay.
I play those songs with these guys, but it just didn't feel right. It'd be like Anthony Hopkins playing Romeo.
Sure. Okay. Yeah, in the latest Baz Luhrmann version or something.
What a horrible thought.
That's what we like to bring people on the show.
But isn't Baz doing Elvis?
Is he? Oh, that'd be interesting.
So. Who's playing Colonel Tom Parker?
No. Who?
Tom Hanks.
Wow, that's a great casting for that. Colonel Tom Parker's fascinating. Horrifying, but fascinating.
I think it's the most overlooked character in rock and roll.
I think you're right, because...
And I did a whole thing on him on my show with about where he came from, and we all know about the dancing chickens on an electric plate and so on, a circus barker.
Oh, no, see, I didn't know about that part. Yeah, well, it makes sense, because he was making, Elvis could have done half the amount of performing for the same amount of money in certain eras, right? But Colonel Tom just kept him working.
Yeah, but the thing about Colonel ruining Elvis's career, you can say that, he didn't let him go to Europe and because the Colonel didn't have a green card, or, they put him in Vegas and they put him in these dreadful movies. They weren't dreadful. They were fantastic. Depends where you're coming from.
Yeah, the way you look at the films.
What if Colonel hadn't taken him out of the Louisiana hayride when he was 19?
Yeah,
and what would have happened to Elvis? Would Elvis have become a country singer and OD'd at 38?
Right.
You don't know. You tell me.
You look at there's positives and negatives of the Colonel's approach, but
if there hadn't been a Hitler, it'd be a different world. So give me a break. Don't fuck with history.
But the reuniting thing, because you can still play the songs now. I mean, there's songs that you wrote and you still have a connection to, or can find a connection to.
Totally.
But the reuniting thing, is it sort of almost like dating someone that you dated ages ago?
It's precisely that.
Okay.
Getting remarried. Tell me one person has got remarried that it worked.
Yeah, I can't think of one.
I can't think of one, and I don't want to think of one. I'm sure there are.
It's got to be one out there, but we don't want to hear about that.
Yeah, right. No, that would ruin the argument. But the argument, or at least the philosophy behind it, is just inaccurate. You can't go back and do that. It is exactly like going to your first girlfriend. It was my first band, know, and I think the world of those guys.
Sure, yeah.
But it's the same thing with any of those bands. Detective, Checkered Past, the Power State, all of these bands, that I've been in, to do it all over again. What is the point?
Right.
Yeah. Isn't life about new experience?
Sure.
I mean, the Stones are mythologically above this argument.
Sure.
There's nothing that they are iconic, archetypical, jagged. You can't even describe that.
Right.
Because it's indescribably spectacular, as is Dylan. They give them what they want.
Yeah, that's true.
It's as simple as that. They want to hear Jumping Like Flash, here it comes. Or Satisfaction, whatever it is. And it seems to satisfy all ages. They are the biggest live act that ever was in terms of rock and roll. As far as I can understand, maybe U2 is close. But they do the same thing, the repetition. I have a thing about the repetition. Because being a DJ, you're playing the same playlist pretty much, and I've been doing it for almost 6 years, over and over and over again. Here come the Drifters, here comes Muddy Waters, here come the Temptations, here come the Stones.
Yeah.
You're doing the same acts, but for me, if the Maharishi gave the Beatles a mantra, that's what rock and roll is to me.
Okay, sure. So there is sort of a freedom in the repetition, or
I think so.
Yeah.
I also think as you get older. Take a painting, for instance. Okay, so you're young and you look at Guernica by Picasso, which is about the war. And you look at that and you see it when you're 20.
Yeah.
And then you go off, live your life, and you come back to it and you're 40. Completely different painting.
Yeah.
It's a completely different view because you have changed.
Right.
So you change, the art remains.
Yeah.
You change with your response to it. It's the same thing with music, you know.
Sure,
to me.
Films or books.
Anything.
Yeah.
I mean, I watch Dog Day Afternoon every afternoon. I mean, to, you know, dramatize the point.
Hyperbolize the...
Yeah, exactly. You know, I love, you know, I get great satisfaction and relaxation about watching movies that I've seen many times. The Bourne trilogy, I adore, you know, and there are certain not silly, but there are certain movies like Dog Day and like The Godfather and like, you know, these classic songs that mean so much to me.
Yeah.
And I can just relax and sink into it.
Right.
As opposed to let it work for you. You know, you have to work at like if you're looking at P.T. Anderson or a new, you know, Wes Anderson or anybody named Anderson, their movies, you know, you have to work hard.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, you're in it.
You're in it.
Yeah, there's no
You're not observing it. You're a part of it.
Yeah.
And that's what's great about art. You know, you can either be one of the two.
Yeah.
But in many ways, because I live a very, you know, busy life, it's nice to just watch telly.
Yeah, no, it is. It is. Sometimes I find myself on Amazon Prime going, oh, look, Murder, She Wrote. The entire thing's up on here. So I'm going to watch one or two. Like, it's perfect plane watching.
It's great.
You know?
It's phenomenal that you can access. Plus, my career today, more people see what I did on telly now than they ever did.
Yeah.
I mean, I've done 150 hours of American television.
That's right, yeah.
You know, be it from Roseanne to Seinfeld to you name
Frasier,
it, Melrose Place, Frasier,
yeah.
all of it, you know, and it's listen, man, I get checks from Finland for $3. You know, it's a global vibe. It's a global industry. But what it is in terms of my radio show and social media is fascinating.
Yeah.
Because, you know, young uns will go, oh my God, Michael, I just saw you, you know, half naked in a, you know, something. And it's bonding, you know, you feel, oh, that's great. Because they know from whence I've come, you know, and that's really very, you know, I feel wonderful about that, you know.
You enjoy when people reach out.
Oh, I really, I love it.
Yeah.
Are you kidding me? I love to. I mean, social media wise, I have like, you know, a lot of people,
right?
And I vibe with all of them. And you know what? I get DMs that are absolutely would make you weep in terms of the pain and suffering that is out there with, you know, homelessness and children on opiates and indeed adults on opiates or indeed the big C.
Yeah.
You know, a lot of people get hold of me and say, listen, my kid, my son, my mother, my father, my uncle, my manager is this, is that.
Yeah.
And I give a fuck about it and I respond to it and anything, you know, this website we've got, StreetHearts, which is about to come out, we have a lot of information about where to go, you know.
Which is crucial. Shelters. A lot of people don't know.
No, they don't have a fucking clue where to go to at least get a night's sleep or to, you know, people that really care. And there's a lot of people that care, but nobody cares enough to let people know that they exist. There's so much going on with you know who, you know, politically that so many important things are being ignored. I mean, look what Jon Stewart just did with the you know, the 9/11 survivors. I mean, he got in there and, you know, and even then, it probably won't go through.
Right.
You know, we're talking about the 9/11 survivors who have not been, you know, compensated for extraordinary brave work.
Yeah. And then Mitch McConnell, I think, was quoted yesterday saying, well, what's he all bent out of shape about?
Well, I'd like to bend him into a shape, you know, put it that way, but that's a whole other story.
Sure.
For all of you guys out there politically, you know, listen, it's about love. It's about caring about who's standing next to you, but most of all, caring about yourself. And if you've got the balls and courage and kindness to be, you know, care about who's standing next to you, that's what matters, not policy. Policy is political. Political is criminal right now.
Sure.
It just is. You know, the greater good.
Right.
You're doing it for the greater good. What the fuck is the greater good?
Also saying something on film and then denying.
Oh, yeah.
All
of the lies are positively Aldous Huxley.
Yeah.
You know, it's just futuristic madness. I mean, you know, but anyway, that's a whole, you know.
Sure. But I mean, it's hard not to dip into that.
It's impossible not to because you've either got to have a conscience about it. We're talking about the people that are, you know, in a lot of pain. And, and that hurts me. And in many ways, I can heal my own anxieties by, you know, giving something away that might help for 30 seconds.
Yeah, the actual greater good is reaching out and being of service to other people. Like that actually helps to create a greater good, doesn't it?
I couldn't agree more. Again, Craig, it's service is what Alcoholics Anonymous is based on, or getting off drugs, or whatever it is. I'm sure every therapist in the world suggests that perhaps what you give away is of such import.
Yeah.
It's not what you take, it's what you're giving. The service of it is amazing. And that's why being an artist at this stage that I'm 71 years old, and as I said, I'm in my 5th band and I'm on the radio, and I give a shit because I don't have to concern myself with anything frivolous,
right,
or frivolous.
Yeah.
And so, I can actually really make a difference, and I intend on doing that.
Now, did you find that keeping yourself in a very highly scheduled schedule, I guess, a busy schedule, helps you to do that?
Oh, yeah. I mean, because here's the thing. It's like what we started with, what I was thinking about driving. You don't think about what happened or what's going to happen. Why didn't they give me that job? Why didn't I get that job? What's the matter with me?
How come they didn't call back? That kind of...
Right. How come he didn't call back, or they didn't call back?
Sure.
But for me, I don't know. Because if I'm occupied, left to my own devices, I'm in a paranoid coma.
Okay.
In a sense.
Sure. A coma being that you're just frozen by all the thoughts going through your head. Yeah, okay.
And I can't see a way out of it. Now, that's a rare occurrence. It absolutely creeps in every now and then. You know, the doubt of it all, of dealing with really serious situations. My son, had a dreadful accident, and dealing with that has been very instructive. All you guys out there, who've got family members or friends or whatever has been going through hell, be heaven.
How's he doing, by the way?
Better.
Good.
But it's a slow progress to come back from a broken back.
Certainly.
And he is so creative. He speaks Japanese. He's in the video game business. And he's staying very, very aware with what's going on, and has done some incredible design work lately. And, I think that's a great healing process of healing, doing what he can do. But nevertheless, he is physically challenged. And to all people out there that are physically challenged, keep active. Don't just lie around, man. And hate and just eat.
Sure, yeah. Remaining active, I think, is the key to pulling out of any either low point or struggle, right? I mean, you mentioned the paranoid coma thing. I think we're all capable of that. And I find as well, like the more I'm just doing things, whatever it is, the easier it is to avoid that sort of thing.
And the key to that is to listen and do what you're told, because often you want to run the show, and I've let go of that. And I like to work with collaborators who are has as much input to whatever we're doing as I do. I don't want to be the monolith. I don't want to be some icon telling you, in 1879 I was in a band, so don't you talk to me.
I know music, and you.
Well, I don't know, and that's one of the most liberating things you can possibly. I don't know.
Yeah.
Because there's two overused words and phrases in Hollywood. One is, it's so exciting. This project, I'm telling you, this is the most exciting. I tell you, if you Googled exciting and Hollywood, it would be all over it. Because you get the tweets, we're really excited about this new album, we're really excited about this movie, we're really excited about this opera.
New project.
New project is true, but excited.
Yeah.
And the other classic phrase is just so, I know. Yeah. No, I know. Which completely negates your life, your everything.
Sure.
Like you say, I've got just a terrible fear of Dalmatians. I know. And it negates your whole idea of, saying something to somebody.
And
that
even
you
opening up for the moment to talk to someone. Yeah.
Yeah, you want to tell them. And you want a response.
Yeah, even a curious, so what do you mean?
Yeah, what do you mean? Yes.
Which again expresses a lack of absolute knowledge.
I don't think anybody has ever said to me, what do you mean? In Hollywood. Maybe into pitching some absurd, surreal, obscene show that I dreamt up and, got into some producer's office. Michael, what do you mean? mean?
The budget's what? What do you mean?
There's a sheep involved in this one, the main character. But, so like, I don't know. And then when you're rehearsing and writing songs and playing it, I don't know. And that's why the mistakes. Mm-hmm. That's why we called it the mistakes.
I think there's a really good lesson in there, too, for just in general. Like, people can get uptight about being correct or perfect about things, but a lot of times you discover great things by not knowing exactly where you're going. Like you mentioned the painting before, or just playing with other musicians. It's the same with life. You go to a party, you don't know who you're going to bump into or something like that, a job interview, whatever.
It's just that you've got to go out there and get involved. You can't do it from your bedroom.
Sure.
I mean, ironically, I do my radio show from a bedroom in the house.
But you have the lighting. So
I had the lighting and the makeup people.
Yeah, exactly.
And they have to come very early in the morning.
It's very exciting.
It is so exciting. It's a fabulous thing being in a room full of guys who there's no egoic stuff there. Mm-hmm. Yeah, you sounded great, man. That is the phrase that I hear from those guys when they look at each other and they go, "Wow, man, that's fantastic and how inspiring." That is obviously it's a new band, so I don't know if that's going to. Listen. I'm not even thinking about next week.
No, sure.
We got a show at the Viper. Everybody's really excited about it. We'll all be in black and look groovy
with a little periwinkle touch.
There's certain Well, I'm thinking of changing my name.
Oh, okay. Yes, to
Periwinkle.
Perfect. That's
Thank
good.
You. Yeah.
I'm very excited about that.
Winkle Records is our label. So we're very excited.
Well, you know what color the next vinyl can be, right?
It's so funny. I'll tell you a story. So I was interviewing John Doe on my on a serious show.
John Doe of X, for those who are not familiar.
And he looks at me and he goes, "Nice nail polish."
Mm-hmm.
I've known him. Listen, John Doe X. One of my favorite bands of all time.
Right, terrific, yeah.
But when me and Miss Mama were living in Hollywood, this is like 30, 40 years ago, and we love like yard sales.
Oh, yeah,
So we were walking around Hollywood, and there was this lawn with this couple lying on the lawn with a few things lying around them, like some sort of magic Crowley ritual. And it was Exene and John Doe. And what was in the middle of them? A pair of Dr. Mines. The classic symbol of punk footwear.
Sure.
Right?
Yeah.
So I buy them for like $3 off them. And we've been friends ever since. We did Sugartown together, that movie with Rosanna and all of those. And Alison Anders directed that movie.
Oh, yeah.
So we've known each other. So he goes, what's that nail polish? Now, the night before, I'd had dinner with Alison Anders, who's a movie director and brilliant, and she said, "Michael, that is fantastic." What she did was the next morning, she went and did her nails that color, and then had a meeting with John about his new book, right?
So now John is seeing this and is wondering what's going on in the world.
He goes, "Oh, you're copying Alison." I'm going, "Absolutely not. Are you kidding?" The
I
next
was here
day.
First,
I was here first. Periwinkle rocks,
Periwinkle's taking over LA.
But he's good. What's that? John Doe's new book about punk is so incredible.
Oh, I want to check that out. It looks really good.
New fun. It's something, it's so clever.
He's a great actor as well.
Oh, God, I'll say.
Terrific movie called Roadside Prophets that he's
absolutely
in.
Brilliant in that movie. And he looks like this gnarly kind of cowboy, really.
Yeah, sure.
Like a Waylon vibe, like a Waylon
definitely.
Jennings. But he's got so much talent, it's ridiculous. And he's so clever, and he observes and sings about it. And Exene is one of the great bands. And I think, I saw them in the beginning, and I saw them recently, and they're better.
What was the LA punk scene like? I mean, it was documented in The Decline of Western Civilization,
yes,
but
was.
You were around
I was.
and going to all the shows and everything, right?
Well, Darby was a big Silverhead fan, so...
Oh, okay. Darby Crash of the Germs. And,
and Pat Smear.
Oh, of course. Yeah, Pat Smear later
Who was with
in
Dave
Nirvana.
Grohl, and the
Foo Fighters as well, yeah.
But they were all teenage rock and rollers, and
sure.
There was... What happened was... Silverhead was always dirty. It wasn't a clean rock and roll, but we got bagged into the glam world. The glam to me was the Sweet and Mark and Marmalade and Gary Glick. We weren't anything to do with that.
Yeah, sure.
We were a bunch of drag queens, really, on a rock and roll level, just, trying to create an androgyny that meant that the way you looked was not how you would determine one's sexual proclivity or even what you thought about the world. It was just random vintage dreams. It was, Guy de Maupassant, that whole sort of renaissance of letting go of the Second World War.
Oh, sure. Okay.
Because the Second World War had such an impact, that it made butch soldiers and all of that, we're going to strike the enemy and kill the enemy. And after that, and I'm one of them babies, coming out of that vibe, and it changed because rock and roll came in and the blues came in, and it just changed things. And that's what kind of we were trying to evoke, rather than the glamorousness. It's the last word you could use to describe us, glamorous. Sure. I mean, it can't be glamorous in the gutter.
So it's almost more like a punk.
Oh, that's right. So back to that. So Darby loved that. And the guys that saw us over it, then Pat Smear was one of them, Alejandro Escovedo, people that changed, their view of things when they saw that chaos that was up there at the Whiskey. I mean, it's indescribable what went on in those days, because there was no security.
Okay.
So that's why I had a tiger. I got this tiger.
You had a tiger?
I had a tiger.
I didn't know you really had one.
I really had. Well, I rented it.
Oh, well, sure, yeah.
We pull up outside the Hyatt Hotel, the notorious Riot Hotel on Sunset Strip in 1972. There's the hearse outside with flames all over it.
Of course.
And there's a driver that looks like Stuart Granger from one of those African movies from the 50s, in that outfit.
Okay.
And there's a fucking tiger in the back. And the tiger was the star of a TV show.
Oh, really?
Called Daktari. A TV show about a compound of animals.
Sure.
And what happened to the people that runs that thing.
Yeah.
And huge star. Tiger was much bigger star than we were. But I said, what are you doing? There's a tiger in the hearse. He goes, yeah, get out of here, And I said, can I rent it? For the week? We were playing the Whiskey A Go-Go.
Oh, sure, yeah.
And we did. And because there's no security, I had it in my room. And we had rooms, all adjoining rooms, like the Beatles, like in the movie, and all the doors are all open. And who slept? I didn't think I slept for at least 6 or 7 years at that time.
Right.
And we had a tiger roaming around.
And he was well behaved. Maybe better behaved than some of the band members.
He was not well behaved.
Oh, okay. Still maybe better behaved than some.
Because he was drugged.
Oh,
he was taking more drugs than we were, and I'm not proud of that. I mean, but that's
right. You should have done more than the tiger.
Yeah, really. I mean, at least. But so he was very lazy and would just lie around. But I swear to God, this happened. And not only that, but there's photographs of it, and I brought it on stage.
Oh wow!
I brought it on stage our first night at the Whiskey. I have a tiger, and I'm wearing tiger skin.
Quite an entrance.
Yes, I'm actually wearing his uncle. And there I am. And what does it do at the first song?
Oh, I'm going to guess.
It went to the bathroom.
Yeah. Not his necessarily critical opinion.
Very lazily.
Slowly. Yeah.
Tucked his head over to the side. And I've got him on a chain.
Yeah, sure. You got
right.
Yeah.
And the band, everybody, they didn't know how to react.
How do you react to that? Yeah.
Well, I'll tell you. There was a girl in the front with a bouquet. So.
Well. Yeah.
I got the bouquet and I.
Yeah.
Planted it in a very, and it would grow.
That's right. They grew into a lovely little tree.
And it's still there to this day.
That's the beautiful thing about LA rock clubs.
Slash just carved his name in there.
Yeah, it's a rite of passage now when you play there.
No, it's a wrong of passage. But yeah, so in those days, there was so much access to the artists. So there were all these young kids like Darby, like Joan Jett, like all of these, we knew they were young. And I, fell in love with them. Spellman and stayed there in Hollywood and it became my home.
Yeah. And so that reminds, so you said Joan Jett. So like when the Runaways were starting up, you must have encountered them a lot, and Kim Fowley.
Very much so. And Robert loved them, and
that's right. There's a lot of photos with him wearing Runaway shirts and promoting them. And,
with me standing next to him.
That's right.
That night, that's when we all fell in love with Joan Jett. Was that, specifically Joan Jett. And I love Cherie Currie and Leader, and they've all done wonderful stuff. Yeah. But Joan was,
Well, she's the one who really started the engine of the Runaways, really. She's the rock and roll heart of the whole thing.
She's rock and roll royalty to me.
Yeah.
And the documentary is great from Kevin Kerslake, Bad Reputation.
That's right. I just watched that recently. It's terrific.
It's fantastic. He did a great job, and she is miraculous. And the real thing, and was, got the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame thing together, which, is not my favorite subject to discuss. Since everybody says to me, Michael, what about the MC5? What about this one and that one and the other one? And I always say, listen, if you dig it, you dig it. And that's all. It stops there for me.
Oh, yeah, sure. So it doesn't really matter to you much who gets in and who doesn't.
It means nothing to me.
Yeah. Yeah. I just like it when it's someone I like. For instance, Roxy Music got in. So I was like, oh, cool. I can see footage of them playing together. That'll be nice. I still haven't watched it, though. I know it'll be on HBO. I'll watch it sometime.
Yeah, but I'll watch it sometime is not... that tells you something.
Yeah, exactly. I'm not terribly...
Who cares who's in the Rock and Roll? I mean, do you really care?
When people get all wound up, like, how come this person's not in yet?
Well, this is my point. And you can imagine being in my position where every tweet is about, what about, whoever? I can't even think of them.
Yeah,
why isn't it status quo?
Yeah, right. That's a perfect one. Yeah.
Right. And you go, I say every time calmly and gently, the word underrated and overrated, these words are meaningless because it's about you, your heart, your soul, your vibe, your feelings. If you like it, you like it. If you don't, who cares?
That reminds me of when people say this fill in the blank doesn't get the respect they deserve. Or
I hate that.
I do too.
It's insane.
I do too, because it's like, well, from who? From what governing body do you need the okay?
The approval, yeah. Well, I think people want to stand for something.
I think that's true.
So they choose what they love, and they want you to know that what they love. It's very innocent. Mm-hmm. So I don't come down too heavy on it at all.
No,
I'll just
not.
say, that's wonderful. Enjoy them. And just because Jan Wenner doesn't think they're, appropriate, I don't think it really should affect you listening to that band.
Sure. And it's nice, but I think it veers sometimes too much into sports fan stuff for me. And that's where I get a little...
Well, I mean, the two are completely... I just see no relationship between LeBron James and James Brown. No, well, maybe, actually.
Yeah.
In the power. But, I mean, not to be glib about this, because it's... the subject is very, very hot, overrated, underrated. They didn't get in, we did get in, the zombies, the this, the that.
It's really more about really what you get from music, right? Because we all get stuff from art.
Personally.
Yeah, personally. And it can
Scott
be the most
Walker
meaningful thing.
Should run the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame in my book, but that's a different world.
I know. Sadly, he's passed, so now he can't. That job's out of the... possible futures for him.
Yeah, I loved him. I mean, he was amazing. But, the thing is that you've really got to just enjoy what you enjoy. And it's so fun to play these songs that we play in Little Steven's Underground Garage, because Steven Van Zandt is on a mission. Mm-hmm. And that mission is just keeping rock and soul music alive.
Sure.
It's not just... rock in New Jersey, Southside, all of that.
Yeah.
Bruce, who has a great new album out right now, just came out on last Friday, which is incredible, which is sort of California pop, not pop, but it's sort of Laurel Canyon.
Oh, sure, 70s singer-songwriter-ish.
Yeah, brilliant.
Yeah.
I mean, Steve Van Zandt is a huge supporter of soul music.
Mm-hmm.
Sam Cooke and the Temps and all of that in Detroit and Tamla Motown and Chess Records and the blues and that's something that one plays with a sort of an educative air, because it's such music that's the template for so much. And, and also those melodies and those words of that Motown music, by William Mickey Stevenson and Ivy Joe Hunter and Norman, Holland Dozier Holland. These writers were incredible.
Oh yeah,
Smokey.
Yeah. Oh, Smokey's incredible. The sheer amount of amazing stuff that they turned out.
Amazing amount of wonderful songs came out of Motown, and also changed civil rights.
That's true. Yeah, I was actually just in Detroit for my first time recently.
Fascinating, isn't it?
It really is fascinating, yeah. It's weird going through the parts that are totally burnt out.
It's horrifying.
Yeah. And it's so huge. Detroit is so big. I didn't really have a conception of it until
massive,
being there. Yeah.
And just a troubled city, but obviously the violence and it's just a very, very difficult situation. My dear friend Allie Willis, who is a brilliant songwriter herself.
Oh yeah, she's wonderful. I've been in touch with her. Hopefully going to have her on the show.
Oh, she's incredible, great songwriter and artist, and she's really been working hard on Detroit's behalf.
Oh wow!
She got this song that she wrote about Detroit, which is so beautiful, and put so many different people in it, like literally 200-300 people sing it. And it's I mean, we're all doing what we can do. I mean, if you've got the time and you've got the energy and you've got the resources, why wouldn't you?
I don't know why that reminds me, but I wanted to ask you about being Murdoch again on what's the name of that show?
MacGyver.
That's right.
Yeah.
Because there's 2 M names. So I was like, Murdoch on that Murdoch show.
Yeah,
we'll just call it the
Macbeth.
Murdoch show. Yeah,
Yeah.
Macbeth. Fabulous work in Macbeth, but don't say the name inside this theater.
No, you have to go around and around and whistle and all of that shit.
Exactly,
I
right.
remember I did the play.
Oh, you did?
Oh, yeah. I played Macduff. And with the classic line, because the witches in Shakespeare's Macbeth say, Macbeth cannot be killed by woman born, by any human that was born from a woman. And Macduff says at the end of the play to Macbeth, he's going, you can't kill me. The witches, the Macbeth says, you can't kill me.
Yeah.
The witches have told me, and that's a fact, that I can't be killed by a
Right.
human that was born from a woman. And Macduff says, Macduff was from his mother's womb, untimely ripped. The first cesarean.
Okay.
How about that, man?
That's pretty good.
And then chops his head off.
Yeah. You want to punctuate a sentence.
Yeah, right, really. But so, and playing Murdoch is that important to me. I played grand villains and stuff, but nothing like that guy.
Yeah, no, it's really the ultra of all of that. And you played the mentor of the new Murdoch, right?
That's
as well.
Essentially what I'm playing in the reboot, is this guy, Nicholas Hellman. And, they've started a Twitter account based on Nicholas. It's called Hellman's Hellions, run by Karen Babb. It's fantastic.
I'm going to check that out, yeah.
It's so great to even think about it.
Yeah.
That people give a shit.
Yeah, and it inspires people enough to make a Twitter account, and it gives people amusement. You know what I mean? It makes their day brighter.
Yeah, and David, who plays the new Murdoch, David S. Malchin, is the greatest actor. I mean, what happened was when the first season came out, and fans were furious. The Richard Dean Anderson fans and Murdoch fans were going, "Oh, it's outrageous! You can't do that." Reboots, reimagine. That feedback, that blowback you get from reboots and reimaginings. And I said when he came on the screen, and I tweeted out that night, this guy is fantastic. This is a wonderful actor doing great work. Please enjoy. Well, I mean, CBS went, get Michael on the phone.
This is another good example, by the way, of just the being open to things, right? And being sort of like, well, I don't know. Again, I don't know. Let's check this out. Oh, this is nice. Because then inadvertently, it certainly wasn't your intention to get on the show. You were just expressing your gratitude and appreciation for this sort of thing.
And I also thought I wanted to counter all the negative energy that surrounded that episode, where he came on, and he'll tell you to this day that, by the way, David S. Malchin is going to be a superstar. You remember that name? He's in the new Dune movie.
Oh, terrific! Yeah,
he's playing Polka Dot in the Suicide Squad.
Oh wow! Okay,
the sequel to Suicide Squad. I mean, he's there. He's going to explode in a year or two. But I saw it, man, and I've worked with him, looked in his eyes. He's a great actor. And it was really fun to go down there and do it. Now, everybody's saying, well, you've got to kill MacGyver. Well, no, it's a different scenario. MacGyver is now 24, and I'm 107. So it's not going to work on that level. So they had to create another guy.
Okay,
And they did. And then maybe there's a lot of Murdochs.
I just happened to get the complete Miami Vice box set on Blu-ray, which is one of my favorite series. And you were on it twice.
I did it twice.
Once as yourself, and then another time as a really villainous pimp who was blackmailing people as well, I think.
Yes, down in Miami with my dear friend,
Don Johnson,
And me and Miss Pamela, when he got the pilot and he went to Miami, and it caught on.
Yeah, it did. It didn't do too bad.
And we took his house.
Oh, really?
And we moved into his house.
Because he had to be in Miami.
He had to be in Miami.
Year, so, basically,
yeah. And so me and Miss Pamela and our kid, little baby Nick, we moved into that house. And, it's a lovely story. It sounds so show busy. Sometimes I listen to myself and go, oh, for God's sake, shut up.
Well, there's a really sweet clip of the two of you and Don, on the set of Miami Vice when you were appearing as Power Station, not you personally appearing with Power Station, and it's just a sweet moment because the two of you were talking about having maybe not the best stretch of luck for a while, but now the two of you were both persevering, and then you were on the show together. It's a very nice little thing. I'll repost it. It's
sure. Yeah. It's a beautiful thing. Donnie is the greatest actor. Why he. it's silly to go there, but
I know what you mean, though.
Yeah, I
but
mean,
especially when you're friends with someone and you can really see.
Yeah,
the
but
talent.
his work stands alone. I mean, he's so gorgeous and so charming, and an extraordinary person, and raising a beautiful family again. And super talented bloke, and I love him and respect him. And there's very few people that I can say that about. To be frank with you, to be candid with you, or to be Shirley with you. How many people?
Did you ever find in the years of working in both film and music that there would be people that, I guess, acquaintances that sort of like then you thought one thing of them, or maybe you thought they were one kind of person, and then you discovered that they were not that kind of person? I mean, we all do in all facets of life, and because Hollywood gets tagged with that a lot, people being fake or phony.
It's a great, great, great question, and I'm trying to rack my brains. Okay, so I think what my response to that question is, it's so rare I truly connect.
Yeah.
But it's so rare for us all that we truly connect.
Certainly.
Did I see somebody who I thought was a schmuck and then turned into a saint? No.
Right.
I think that you know right away when you touch somebody, or you look in their eyes, or you know, oh my goodness me, this is a special, special thing.
Sure.
And the vibration, the equation of you two, and that I one hand.
Right.
Maybe even less than that.
Half a hand.
Have I had half a hand? Because hypothetically, you're not talking about we're both artists. It's like everybody I've ever worked with in bands, I've felt a tremendous connection because you've got that mutual thing about the music. But if it's just a person, it's you and them and what they believe and what they don't believe, and the courage or kindness that they have or don't have that connect you, that's something else. You're not bonding over a movie,
right,
or a band.
Yeah,
there's a depth of similarity, familiarity. You can see yourself in them, or the good side of yourself, and they bring out that good side of you, and you do that to them. And that's called friendship.
That's true. That's really important. Thinking about how people, how you bring out something in your friend, or and vice versa. And I guess instinct is pretty much everything, right? Because a lot of times we get in trouble not listening to our gut about people or situations. No? Okay.
Gut is that's the worst. I have a 27-inch waist. I can't talk about guts.
Right. Okay. So when we don't listen to our intuition,
it's a rare and beautiful thing to have somebody that you don't have to be somebody else for.
Yeah, that's true. Which reminds me of your documentary, which is called
"Who Do You Want Me to Be?" which
is coming out soonish, right?
Well, it's been coming out soonish for years.
Right. So why stop now? Let's just keep it.
Yeah. Well, there's more footage, and the thing is that the licensing. I made movies with Clint Eastwood and
Pink Cadillac, by the way.
Yeah. And
by the way, I always mention this. I mentioned this theater on the show so often that there's a drinking game now involved with it. But the New Beverly, I think it would be fabulous if they did a screening.
Absolutely, and I could do a Q&A.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, they would love that.
Well, they've approached me for that.
Yeah.
But the thing is that if it's like a beautiful thing when you do something like that. Like people. It changes. It's so fucking interesting. Like, to answer your question, Clint Eastwood.
Yeah.
Let's talk about Clint Eastwood.
Let's talk about Clint Eastwood, absolutely.
Because I was cast on film, and I talk like this. I played like an Aryan Brotherhood motherfucker.
Yeah.
Biker gang. I'm going to get you. I'm going to kidnap your motherfucking children. I'm going to sell them on the street. So, yeah, I'm a really horrible person. And so I walked in and did all the videos and the auditions as that guy.
Yeah.
Are you ready for me? I'm here at 4:30.
Yeah.
It's 5:10. Why can't you get me in there? I was, even the secretary's going, this guy, I think he's going to kill somebody.
Yeah.
And I went in and got it on film, and he saw it on video, and cast me, and I'd never met him. And then they fly me up to Reno. We made it in the mountains there, in Nevada, and it came the moment to meet him. And I'd arrived on location. Had already been working for a week or so. And the first thing I said to him was, go ahead. Make my career. And he laughed. And he took me into his trailer. His trailer was Schwarzenegger's gym.
Oh, wow.
Which he'd gotten. Yeah. But he liked to watch movies in it. So he said, I want to play a movie, Mike. Okay. Fantastic. And it was a documentary on Thelonious Monk.
Oh, because he's a crazy
huge
jazz
nut.
Yeah.
So we sat there, me and I'm what's verklempt. I am like going through a lot because Clint Eastwood's face is seared into my DNA from a child, as it is with everyone, Dirty Harry and so on and so forth.
Those westerns,
the hard, cold, killer with the heart of gold, the principled villain, I mean, amazing, that face. And Rawhide, the TV show, was a kid I watched in England. So I'm sitting there going, Jesus, I'm playing the bad guy with Dirty fucking Harry. I'm in heaven. And then to be, this is a French documentary that I don't think a lot of people have access to. But what happened was the filmmakers came to him with this documentary of Thelonious Monk and said, "Can we please get this out on Warner Brothers?" Warner Brothers. By the time I worked with him, he'd made $1 billion for Warner Brothers.
Wow, okay, that makes sense actually. Right? Yeah, he essentially only worked for them.
Yeah,
right. Yeah,
and El Paso Productions is just every movie he's ever made.
Right.
By the way, Mule. If you look at Mule, the new one.
That's right, because I put one out almost every 8 months. He puts another movie out
constantly, like Woody Allen.
Yeah,
without Woody has problems.
Yeah,
but at the end of the screening. And it's just me and him.
Yeah.
And then at the back, there was a Warner Brothers executive hovering. And the guy goes, "Is that okay, Mr. Eastwood?" And he said, and I'll never forget it, he said, "Take the shield off at the end." I said, "What?" And the shield was the Warner Brothers logo.
Oh, wow.
And he didn't want to corporatize it.
Oh, wow.
Which would
and he had that kind of sway.
Yeah. Fuck yeah. You're kidding me? He is a Warner brother.
Yeah.
He's Clint Warner.
Yeah.
But I mean, to see him so calmly address something that is my whole thing, which is the corporatizing of the world, is disgusting and horrible, and I hate it. And clearly for him too.
Sure.
And then they say, well, he's a conservative and he did the Obama thing with the... I don't care about that.
Yeah.
We've all done things that pass.
Maybe should not have.
Yeah. Gee, I've never done them. Ridiculous. So from that moment on, we had a bond. We had a bond of music. He loves music. I love music. He knew music. I would play guitar with him. He'd play congas. It was sick.
Really? Wow. Yeah.
And
he composed scores for some of his films, right? Am I correct that he made Round Midnight, the movie about Monk?
Yes.
Yeah.
Charlie Parker is what it was about.
That's right, Charlie Parker.
But, and Forrest Whitaker was extraordinary.
Yeah, it's an incredible film. Yeah.
When people say, oh, they can't make music movies, rock and roll or whatever it is, jazz, go see that.
Yeah, that movie's incredible.
Go rent that. Go download that. Around Midnight is one of the... love that you bring it up.
Oh, I love that movie,
because he wouldn't let it go by unless it was great.
True.
And also, the other thing about him was it's 2 takes.
That's right. He's a very efficient filmmaker, right? 2 takes.
Tops. And he's, and if you fuck it up, he would simply say, "Yeah, film in the camera." Okay, let's do it again.
Yeah, everyone's done by 5, right? Or earlier.
Because of who he is, he could take as much time as he wants. I think it's an artistic choice more than a budgetary choice.
Yeah, it's not like Sinatra, who would be like, just 1 take because I just want to get out of here.
But all he needed, that shows such incredible confidence, and that's a great example.
Yeah.
He could memorize the script in 20 minutes, and Frank, and would,
I think he would get frustrated rather easily. From what I know about him.
That's exactly right. But that's why Nelson Riddle comes in.
Oh, who arranged all those.
He would walk in and they'd have it sussed, as they say.
Oh, yeah.
And he would go in and he'd sing it. He'd listen a couple of times, he'd sing it, he'd leave.
Yeah.
And to me, that is just the shit.
Tina Turner as well. I was watching a documentary about her, and Martin Ware was talking about basically first take on most of the stuff. Maybe
not
a second
with Phil
take.
Spector.
Oh, well, no one got away with the first take with Phil Spector,
which is
right?
It's interesting though, Tina, because Tina is my favorite singer. She taught me everything. Just the percussiveness of her voice.
Yeah.
It just made it so edgy
for
rock and roll soul music. She's the one for me.
When's the first time you saw Tina Turner live?
Oh, in London, late 60s, and there was a review show. It was like Sam and Dave and
6 acts on a bill.
Yeah. And all of them, you're just going wild.
Yeah, all the greatest.
Yeah, because it's real music, Like one interesting story for you and your listeners is that in England in the late 60s, the NME, the New Musical Express and Melody Maker, they had big festivals that you would have everybody on it. Dusty Springfield's 3 songs, Nashville Teens, Herman's Hermits, The Searchers, The Hollies, The Beatles, The Stones, The Yardbirds, and they'd all do 3 songs. Well, I was in drama school. This is 65. And they came to our drama school, the producers, the BBC, who were going to televise this festival. And they wanted some kids to be filmed going into the festival and kids coming out of the festival.
Sure.
Oh, that was great.
Yeah.
So that's how I saw the Beatles.
Oh, that's amazing.
I know. I was sitting there being filmed going, oh, John, whatever. And
have you ever seen the footage later on? Have you been able to track that down? Or?
You know what? I have not.
It'd be fun to find that.
We've tried so hard to get me screaming at Paul McCartney, and we never did.
Yeah.
It was a drag. Josh Weinstein directed this documentary. It's going to come out soon.
Yeah, which many people might be familiar with him from Mystery Science Theater.
Yep.
And he was a writer on a lot of shows. Right?
Yeah, he's a fantastic filmmaker and comedian and actor now. A wonderful man. It was just beautiful, generous, incredible, talented, clever, sharp, no bullshit, perfect. But that's how I saw a lot of the great acts. And then the other way I did it was there was a show called Ready, Steady, Go.
Oh, yeah.
That was live.
Oh, right.
And what happened was it was at Rediffusion TV studios. Now, I'd be playing some punk throwing a brick through a window in another show.
Yeah.
But, at lunch, I would go over to the soundstage where Otis Redding was singing with Tom Jones.
Oh, wow.
Or Chris Farlow or something.
Sure.
And I'm 16.
And just soaking all of it up.
Oh,
taking as much as possible.
The Stones, with Brian nodding out and Mick going, hey, Brian, wait, come on, Brian, and Keith going, for God's sake, well, what did you say, Keith? So
you were seeing all sides of this stuff too, because you would see the of the real life aspect and not just the stuff on the screen.
That's exactly right. And at the end of the thing with the Beatles, I tried to get backstage and fuck the BBC, filming us coming out all excited. I went missing. Yeah. But they soon security threw me.
Oh, sorry, I got lost.
Yeah, sorry.
Yeah. Sorry about that.
Well, sorry.
What am I supposed to do? Yeah.
Wait, which door?
And then it was quickly after that, right, when you got to Sir with Love.
Yeah.
And how did you audition for that? I can't remember quite how that happened.
How that happened was I've been in drama school about 6 months, and the James Clavell, the director, and the studio came to our drama school. Yeah. And because there's a lot of great people, Malcolm McDowell, Judy Geeson, a lot of really good young actors.
You and Malcolm McDowell would be great if you played brothers who, in a road movie. You guys got to take a car trip to date.
I've replaced him in various projects.
Oh, really?
Well, when he wasn't, available.
Well, sure. Yeah.
Well, there was one TV show called Four Kings that I did that they had him playing a record producer, and he just didn't want to know about it. And it was a sitcom. It's hard doing sitcoms because you've got the audience, and they, you do a version of it, and then they rewrite it, and then you do it again. So you got to be fast, and he just wasn't into that.
Oh, sure.
It's hard to learn that dialogue that fast and then do it in front of a live audience.
Right, and then hit the marks as well. It's a whole thing.
It's a very complex thing, sitcoms. Yeah. Really complex, and you got to be really relaxed and able to remember those words, and it's tough. It's tough, but I love him. Clockwork Orange, he was our hero for ages.
Oh, yeah,
but I auditioned for Romeo and Juliet, speaking of Franco Zeffirelli, which we weren't, but we might as well.
Yeah.
Who just died. And that's unfortunate. And I was there, one of three. Leonard Whiting, me, and another guy didn't get it. It's like you. That's the dangerous territory of looking back. Oh boy, if I'd been Romeo,
if I'd been in that, if I'd been in this,
all of this shit.
I always think that if you think back past, if you want to say failures or opportunities that didn't happen or you weren't able to seize them, I think that the best way to look at it is that those are steps along the way to wherever you are now.
That's great.
The other way is crazy making, and also, like you said before, what if and this should have. It doesn't exist. It's not real, and it doesn't. It also leads back to what you were saying about being in the present moment and thinking about now.
Yeah, it should have been Sting. It's stupid, and the sooner you realize that you've got your own path, and indeed, not getting something is as important as getting it, like you just described so accurately, because you learn something about yourself.
That's true, yeah.
Which is the whole thing about mistakes.
Right.
You make one and you learn from it. And that's been my ethos for a long, long time, which has meant that I haven't had to succumb to outside, substances that will anesthetize my anguish.
Sure. Well, and again, as we talked about in the last time you were on, you went through a period where you did try that, and that didn't really solve any of those things.
Well, it's a rite of passage, isn't it? Or a wrong of passage. I mean, you're reading Edgar Allan Poe, you might as well do heroin. I mean, it was just de rigueur, as they say in French.
And in that era, too, I mean, also when you were hanging out with Jimmy Page, there was a lot of the sort of dabbling in the occult.
Dabbling is kind. I mean, but, deeply into it is. But, thinking you could change things and have the power. But the only power worth anything is love and the united souls of us all. And we're all one and we're all the same. We all share the same secrets, etc. In those days, you had a sort of a mythological, iconic symbolism that you were important.
Oh, okay.
And you're not.
Sure.
You're as important as the person standing next to you. And the important thing is to love that person,
And take interest in other people. I think that's another key thing.
Yeah, and learn and admire.
Yeah.
And hopefully love, what other people do.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, so many people can say what they don't like, and
That's
so
true.
few can say what they do. They'd rather talk about something that was fucking awful. That was terrible. Oh, God, he can't act. Look at that. Oh, and they love it, and they bond over it, man.
That's true, actually, yeah.
And if you could bond over somebody, it's wonderful. It's kind of better world, no?
It's very exciting. I'm very excited about that.
I know.
We talked earlier about managing anxiety, if you will, or those little things that can get the better of us. Is there any one or two things you could recommend to any of our listeners who has that sort of happening?
Yes, absolutely. Listen to Little Steven's Underground Garage, for one thing. But more importantly, love yourself. How do you do that? Okay, so how you do that is you go to the gym because you love yourself enough to stay in shape and stay active for others, for everybody around you. If you love yourself, you will be loved. If you eat right, you will feel that you can give, that you'll have the strength, the energy. The vulnerable need to see somebody who is feeling good, not in a posturing way, but in a way that is got a shining light. When I did mime, Lindsay Kemp, who worked with Bowie, he had the thing where imagine you have a spotlight on your forehead, and wherever you look, you illuminate that place. That was such a beautiful thing to me.
Really
and
is,
it really stuck to me. And now I would say peace of mind is getting your body in shape. Now, I don't mean you're going to look like Bruce Lee.
Sure.
Nobody looked like Bruce Lee.
Yeah.
Except for me for like 6 weeks in like 74, with that leanness. But it's not about the visual. It's about the feeling. If you feel good and you've done a disciplined workout, the discipline alone, the bravery to be able to be consistent. We are so inconsistent human beings.
Sure.
And we sit and think, oh, should I do that? Can I do that? Well, when you start asking yourself those questions, you can't. So you really have to train your body into going out and working out. So, I mean, it's a very simple answer to the question.
Sure.
Work out, eat good, drink water. It really is.
Yeah,
it sounds like
simple,
a haiku.
But that's a good thing, though.
Or a haiku in this case. That's what it is.
Yeah.
And, and I would say that would bring peace to your lives. And more so, it will give you the opportunity to be of service to your fellow man and woman, boy and girl, or they.
Well, that's terrific. Well, Michael, thank you so much for coming back and chatting. It's always a pleasure to talk to you.
No, thank you. And we're playing the Viper Room on Monday. If you guys want to, come to that, it's free.
Yeah.
I'd love you to do that. And, our single comes out July 5th. I have to say these things.
Well, of course,
on Wicked Cool Records. It's called Crackle and Hiss. It's an homage to vinyl. Clearly, the B-side is Stop in the Name of Love, the Supremes classic. And we're going to be playing around town and hopefully around the country. And listen to my program, Little Steven's Underground Garage, Sirius XM Channel 21, MTB, your marquee. Over and out.